Let's talk about the relationships and the interactions of organisms in a certain environment or ecosystem. First, let's talk about what competition is. As I have explained in my previous video, competition is basically organisms trying to get the same resource from the same place, or they're trying to get the same resource, so they need to compete. So they need similar resources, or even the same resource. So that causes the two organisms to fight for the food that they need in order to survive. Then we have something called predation. Predation is when one organism hunts its prey for food. So in the example of the food web in the last video, the example for predation would be the scorpion trying to hunt for the grasshoppers, or the golden eagle trying to hunt for the ground squirrel. So this is an example of predation. Next, let's talk about mutualism. Mutualism is a relationship in which both organisms in that relationship are benefited. So both at benefit. One such example would be the bees and the flowers. Their interaction is really important for both organisms, in the sense that bees are able to collect the nectar and pollen necessary to feed their colonies, and flowers are able to get pollinated because the bees rub off some of their pollen and go from flower to flower, so it allows for the pollination process to take place. Next, we have Commensalism. In this relationship, one organism is at benefit while the other is neither harmed or benefited. So one is neutral, the other one at benefit. One such example of this would be the example of the remora fish. The remora fish have a disc on their heads that enable them to attach to the bottom of a shark. So this is the interaction with the shark. And it's able to eat the scraps that are left over from the shark. So the remora fish is at benefit, whereas the shark is neither harmed nor benefited. So it doesn't do anything to the shark. Lastly, we have parasitism. Parasitism is when one is at benefit and the other one is harmed. Most of the times, the other organism is not harmed enough to be killed, but it is significantly harmed. And one such example would be fleas and dogs. Fleas are considered the parasite in this case because they feed off of the dog's blood, and they are harming the dog. So in this case, that would be a parasitic relationship.